Well, good evening, everybody, to our February meeting. As y'all know, it's been a few months since we've had one. We appreciate y'all being here tonight. I'd like to announce that we have had a very qualified person step up and volunteer, and she's greeting, and be our president. And she has been at the National Weather Service Office in Fort Worth for many years. If I'm not mistaken, you're with the Hydrological Division at this time. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Amanda Schroeder as our new president for the AMS/NWA for the following few months. And then we'll twist our arm again for the 2021-2022 year. So I'm going to pass it over to Miss Amanda. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that nice warm welcome. I appreciate it. So yeah, like he said, I've been at the Fort Worth Weather Service office for coming on 8 years now. I was at the WFO for 3, and I've been at the RFC for about 5 now. I guess before that, when I was working on my PhD at University of Georgia, I was volunteering at the Weather Service office there, so got experience at another co-located office with the Weather Forecast Office and an RFC. So before that, I'm a native Oklahoman. Went to OU for my undergrad and my master's work. So I'm from the area generally for the most part, pretty much my whole life. I grew up in southeast Oklahoma, which is, gosh, that ranch was probably 10 miles from Texas. So one could argue that I've been a Texan my whole life too. So yeah, so I've been a member, sometimes more active than others since I've been here, and then been a part of the national AMS, gosh, I don't know, coming on 15 years probably. Long time. Anyway, so I'm excited to take on this leadership role, and I've already started soliciting information for folks, for speakers for the next couple of months. So we'll see what happens with all that, trying to get a variety of different topics, whether it's tornadoes or aviation weather, fire weather, have to touch a little bit of hydrology, obviously, flooding. So yeah, if anybody has any suggestions, people that they would like to speak, or topics they want covered, feel free to shoot me an email, give me a phone call. Totally fine with me, pretty open for all of that. So that's really all I wanted to say, just to introduce myself and thank everybody for coming to the meeting tonight.
Welcome. Greg, are you muted?
Not anymore. So let me, not trying to overstep your authority, Madam President, but Ariel has been a member for many, many years. And I think, she requested to make a statement, and I have feelings from the bottom of my heart that what she has to say is definitely going to be very important to her and to the rest of us. So Ariel, please, it's all yours.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I've been a member of this chapter, not really active in the past few years just because I've been at OU, but since I was about 13, 14, and I recently, so I've been doing my undergrad at OU. I'll graduate in May with my bachelor's in meteorology. And a couple of weeks ago, I got into one of my top choice PhD programs with the University of Washington. So in 5 years, I'll have my PhD in atmospheric science.
Cool.
Congratulations on that. Wow.
Yeah.
Very impressive and very, very proud of what you've done.
Keep going.
So what is your goal after you obtain your PhD?
I want to remain in academia. I plan to both teach and do research, which is why I want to remain in academia instead of just becoming a research scientist somewhere.
So Amanda, since you're both OU grads, any words of wisdom for her, or Skip, or Greg, or Bernard? Any words of wisdom for this young lady?
When you feel like the PhD is becoming too much, just keep going, because it'll be worth it in the end.
And when it comes time to defend both your thesis and your dissertation, always remember you know a whole lot more about the subject than they do.
Very true.
Say, Amanda.
Yes. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I miss everybody. But I don't miss getting up for 6 a.m. shifts.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Hard to believe it's been 10 and a half months I've been retired. Since I am a past president of this chapter, I would extend my assistance to you in any way, shape, matter, or form that you may need it. I don't know if you'll need a lot of help, but I will offer it anyway.
I appreciate it.
Also, in terms of looking for speakers, I know sometimes that could be a challenge. One, if you've got a paper and pen, you can put my name down as a resource, but I am part now of the Minuteman Disaster Response Group, which is a nonprofit group, and I'm their meteorological support. And either me or someone higher up from the organization would be more than happy to come and talk to the chapter by Zoom, or if someday even by person. I'm assuming it's going to be Zoom for a while anyway.
Yeah.
And they can explain what their mission is and stuff like that. One of the things I got to do was I actually got down to help out with Hurricane Laura cleanup 10 days after the storm hit. So I was in Lake Charles for several days, actually for the first time seeing, honest to God, storm damage. I always talked about it and always saw pictures, and I got to see it firsthand. But Minuteman Disaster Response has been going ever since the Joplin, Missouri tornado back in 2011. So if you want a speaker for a chapter meeting, either me or someone from the organization would be more than happy to do that.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
You know, Greg brings up an interesting topic that he's been involved now and actually seeing the damage. Amanda, weren't you put over in Lake Charles or Louisiana after the hurricanes to serve over there with the Weather Service office? Or is that somebody else?
No, it wasn't me. I know that there was someone that went over there, and I know Elena did some help remotely, but it was not me.
So that made me think that it was somebody from Southern region that was detailed over to Lake Charles.
Yeah, I think it was Jennifer McNatt.
It might have been Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good person to reach out to and tell us how her role is over there. And
yeah.
Again, we seem to have a lot of different options now that unfortunately Greg didn't have back in his day. But anything that any of us can do to help you out,
okay.
You know, anybody in the association will be more than happy to step up and help you.
I actually thought about tracking down all of the past presidents to see if they would want to talk on what they're doing now. There are some people that have been in the organization for quite a while and would have known every single one of them. So I thought it might be kind of interesting to do that too.
If I'm not mistaken, David, does the website not have that list?
It does have the list. I believe it's up to date, except I don't have Amanda on there yet. But yeah, there's a page on there that I'll send around to y'all, and you can go off of that.
Sounds good. Well, as far as what I had, that was really it. Just an introduction and checking in with everybody, seeing if anybody had any specific suggestions and any other chapter business. It was going to be pretty short this evening.
And I will be updating the website tonight or tomorrow with Amanda's email address if anybody needs it. Of course, you can send an email to the group list, and it will get to us anyway. You just send it to the group list, and it doesn't go to anybody but the chapter officers. So if you use that address, that'll work too.
Let me, Greg, I think you were the contact person. How did the science fair kind of play on words this year?
I didn't have anything to do with the science fairs this year. I think Stanley might have got some information on it. I don't recall, but I haven't gotten anything to the science fair since I retired, or the before maybe. I think I was forwarding all that to Mark Fox because he was the president after me. So
I know that we received an email about the science fairs, and I forwarded it to Jennifer, the warning coordination meteorologist, simply because they were still looking for people to do virtual, but I never heard anything back. I don't even know if they even had the science fairs this year because of the CCP.
Yeah, Greg,
I know that
Greg,
the Dallas one and the one at UT Arlington all used to be in February, so I think it's doubtful.
Yeah, that email we got came through Mark Fox, and so I don't know what transpired after that.
Like I forwarded it to Jennifer and talked to her for a few minutes about it. She was going to check with the office staff. So I don't know if Jennifer reached across and talked to y'all side, Amanda, or not. But
Not that I heard, but I can touch base with Jennifer and see what I can find out.
We probably should say that Stanley would have been here tonight, but he had another appointment just before the meeting, so he wasn't able to make it tonight, but we'll be talking to him later.
Another thing, Amanda, that I'll remind you of, there is a spot on the American Meteorological Society's chapter webpage where you can contact or you can actually put in the information about our chapter, who the president is, vice president. I don't know what all information is on there because I haven't looked at it lately, but I used to have a password that would get me into that site so that I could update our chapter information every year, so that anybody who goes to the chapter website will see that we're current, that North Texas is current. So
I can look into that.
Okay. Yeah, you just go to the chapter page, and there's actually a spot on there where you can edit the chapter. Last time you had elections, who is the current president, and their contact information and officers and all that.
Okay.
This is Bernard. It might be of value to contact both AMS and NWA to see in this pandemic time if they've developed any sort of a speakers bureau with everybody doing Zoom meetings. We're not really limited to people physically in or even near Dallas and Fort Worth. That you can find one of the astronauts on the space station, right? We always had that question whenever we did webinars in Southern Region. The guys in the Spaceflight Meteorology Group would always think, "Are we connected too? Can we be connected?" And I said, "Hey, if you're on the internet, you can do it." And they're on the internet. I don't know quite how they do it with the Teepers satellites or whatever. Just anybody anywhere can be doing it. So like I say, it might be interesting to see if they've developed some sort of a speakers bureau.
And I know David in past has done his magic, and we have done some very interesting speakers via, was it Zoom or Jitsi or what?
Yeah.
Technology.
Zoom on this, yeah.
So we have the capabilities now. We just have to find the speakers that are willing to do it. And
I heard, speaking of astronauts, I heard a story you made me remember just recently. A gentleman that did some pretty famous TV shows. I can't think of his name now, but anyway, he was telling a story here a week or two ago that he was totally surprised when one of the astronauts, he was telling the story that the astronauts get to make so many phone calls, from space. And usually it's to family and that stuff, but they'll let them make one phone call a week or something like that to anybody they want to talk to. And so this astronaut that had spent almost a year in space said, I want to talk to this famous TV personality. And he called him. So they spoke for like an hour on the telephone between space and his house. And it was just the amazing story of some, be able to do that from space like that. So don't count out the astronauts. We've talked to the right people. We might get one on here.
You never know. I wanted to see if I could find any contacts that might have connections with any of the hurricane hunters. I thought that might be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, since you said that, Tim Marshall has the contacts.
Okay.
So, and Tim is a member of our association.
Right.
Pretty active member.
I will have to reach out to him and see what I can find out.
Of course, he may be doing a Zoom meeting from New Zealand or something like that with his vacation schedule these days. Now that he's semi-retired.
Right. I thought about trying to get my PhD advisor to do it again. I know he, because Marshall Shepard is a former national AMF president. I know he's done it for our chapter before. It's been a few years, but he books out a long time in advance, so I'm not sure that it would be any time the next couple of months. But
Marshall Shepard was your PhD advisor? That's really cool.
He was.
Really cool. What type of research did you do for your PhD?
My research focus was on urban flooding across the United States.
That's cool.
Trying to bridge meteorology and hydrology together.
That would make sense why you work in the hydrology office.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, that paper is available on the OU website.
There's, I think I have 6 different publications now, something like that.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm still talking, sorry.
Well, if you have any other questions, feel free to hit me up.
Yeah. Well, I want to share a thing, but I probably shouldn't because it will just come off as bragging. My first paper was published in September.
Congratulations.
And what was your paper on?
It was on, let me remember the title, it's long. The effect of climatological variables on future UAS-based profiling in the lower atmosphere. I worked with Dr. Philip Trilson in the Center for Autonomous Sensing and Sampling, which is where I currently work. So we're trying to figure out, it was based on the NARI analysis data set, and we picked variables that were conditional based on the FAA regulations and the wind tolerance of the UAS, and saw climatologically like where in Oklahoma we can actually fly, and like statistics based on that to see, okay, well, you can fly the drones, but where and for during what seasons, how that affects certain things. It was a fun time. But now I'm going to be working on quite different things for my PhD. I'll be doing air-sea interaction with Dr. Shuyi Chen at University of Washington.
Very cool.
Are you on our Facebook page, Ariel?
I don't think so.
If I could encourage you to join that, and if you have digital links to that, I'm sure those papers would be of interest to folks in our association that might want to read them.
Mm-hmm.
I also think we're hearing from a future presenter to the chapter as well.
Yes, very much so.
If you want, I can give my AMS presentation. Well, it was weird because we had to do it virtual this year at the national conference.
Yep.
Did anyone go to the national conference? Was anyone able to go to that?
Not this year.
Yeah.
Bernard, were you
In
available?
Boston?
I went to Boston. I didn't present in Boston though.
Yes, I was in Boston. I did 2 presentations there, I believe. But I didn't go this year.
Yeah. A lot of people boycotted the virtual conference. I was the only one there for my lab, and it was kind of weird.
Wow.
Was there anything else that anybody wanted to bring up or discuss, or?
You want to remind us how we can pay our dues?
If Amanda is not familiar, there is a link on the website with a PDF file which you can fill out for new membership. It also has the address. It'll go to Stanley. It has the address for sending dues if you want to send dues. I don't think that we've come up with a way to do this electronically yet, like through PayPal or anything. That's maybe something we need to look into. But right now it's by mail, and the address is on that PDF file. It's on the front page of the website. And just use the address if you don't need to use the membership form. And I think it shows who to make it out to. If it doesn't, I'll make sure it gets updated. But it goes to Stanley, so it goes to.
Well, thank you guys for joining the meeting today. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. We'll get some really cool dynamic speakers hopefully over the next couple of months.
Is there any announcement about when our next meeting might be set up? We looking at a month, or aren't you sure yet?
I was assuming it was still going to just be monthly, the second, they're always the second Tuesday of the month, correct?
Yep, that's the way they've been.
So on the calendar, that will be March 9th, 7 p.m. And I'm sure, David, you'll Zoom us again.
Yep. In fact,
Okay.
I'll put out a email after the meeting, tonight or tomorrow, announcing what we did tonight, and there's other reasons for doing that for Stanley, but and then we'll put out the notice as well that there'll be a meeting next month as usual, and hopefully we'll just continue on and things will pick up where we left off.
That's the plan. Well, you all have a wonderful evening, and we will chat again in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you, Amanda.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Amanda.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And thank you everyone for joining. Pass the word around that more need to come.
Yes, yes. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.